Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be doing an unboxing and a hands-on review of the Vivo V20. So guys, here's the box. So Vivo is going to be launching this phone in one variant on October 13th, 2020, and expected price is about 25,000 rupees, and it's going to be available in three colors: Midnight Jazz, Sunset Melody, and Moonlight Sonata, and we have the Midnight Jazz color with us right now. By the way, this phone is gonna come with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, so it's gonna be great even in the long-term usage. Now for the highlights of this phone, it has a 44MP selfie camera, a 64MP rear camera, ultra sleek design, and it also has a massive 4000mAh battery that supports fast charging up to 33 watts. So a lot of cool stuff. It also has a Snapdragon 720G processor, which is once again pretty great. So I'm really excited to unbox it. And without any further delays, let's just unbox it. By the way, on the back, we have just the basic specifications and that's all. In fact, overall box packaging has been pretty clean. Now let's unbox it. Okay, I forgot to break the seal. Now let's unbox it. So on the front, we have a cardboard box and it says V20 on the front. And inside, we should get the regular stuff, a SIM card ejector, some documentation, and a soft silicone pouch or case. Next, we have the phone itself. Let me just put that aside. We also have IMEI stickers, a separator, and here we have Vivo Flash Charge 2.0 with a maximum output of 33 watts. Next, we have a USB Type-C charging cable, and finally, we also get earphones, and that's all we get inside the box. Now, let me just put everything aside and come back to the phone. It's in the plastic wrapping. Let me just remove that. So this is how the phone looks on the back. It's the Midnight Jazz color, and this is how it looks on the front. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone has a 2.5D curved AG matte glass with anti-fingerprint coating, and this one has a black hue to it. And as you can see, it looks pretty cool. At the top, we have the camera module with a triple camera setup followed by dual LED flash, and at the bottom, we have the Vivo branding. On the front, we have a huge display with a dewdrop notch protected by a 2.5D curved glass. We also get a free screen guard pre-applied, which is really appreciated. Above the display, we have the regular earpiece, and below the display, it's completely plain, and the chin is kinda small. Now for the sides, on the right side, we have the power button and the volume buttons, which are made of metal. They have a nice clicky feel to them, and they are sufficiently elevated. At the top, we have the secondary microphone for noise cancellation. On the left side, we have the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. By the way, SIM card tray is completely made of metal and feels pretty sturdy. Now finally, at the bottom, we have the audio jack followed by the primary microphone, USB Type-C charging port, and the speaker grill. Now this phone has a thickness of 7.38 mm and weighs 171 grams. By the way, this is the Midnight Jazz, and on the right side, we have the Sunset Melody. So if you go with the Sunset Melody color, thickness of the phone will increase by 0.1 mm and weight increases by 1 gram. And that's the only difference between the Sunset Melody color and the rest of the two colors. Initial impressions: phone feels super sleek, fits pretty comfortably in the hand, and it's really lightweight as well. Vivo has done an amazing job putting a 4000mAh battery into this sleek looking phone. Like, the sleekness of this phone is definitely its selling point. By the way, rear camera module design also looks pretty cool, especially for the price. Now let me try out the case. Now this is how the phone looks with the case on. Even with the case on, you can still see how beautiful the back panel is. And as for the case, it has a raised lip for the camera module. It does offer some protection. It even has a raised lip for the display, so once again a bit of protection. This case can give you some extra grip and prevent smudges, but that's all, not too much in terms of protection. I would definitely recommend you to get a better case if you're worried about dropping this phone. Now these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone has a triple camera setup with a 64MP primary camera, an 8MP ultra-wide-angle camera, and a 2MP mono camera. For selfies, it is a 44MP camera. On the front, you get a 6.44-inch AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution in 20:9 aspect ratio with HDR10+ support and a brightness of 430 nits. Under the hood, it sports a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor with Adreno 618 GPU with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Right out of the box, it will be running FunTouch OS 11 based on Android 11. Finally, powering this device is a 4000 mAh battery. Also comes with a fast charger inside the box with a maximum output of 33 watts. Now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. This is the overall user interface, and Vivo has definitely done a great job removing that control center which mimics the iOS. Anyway, here's the about page. This phone is currently running FunTouch OS 11 based on Android 11, and right out of the box it has a September security patch, which is pretty good. As for storage, out of that 256GB of space, we get about 241GB of space for our user apps and user data, which should be more than sufficient for most people. Now let's check the camera interface. Right now we are using the primary 64MP camera. If you want to switch between cameras, you have a toggle over here. First we have super wide angle. Right now we are using the wide angle camera. Next we have a dedicated bokeh mode, that's for taking portrait shots. In this mode, we can actually change the amount of background blur effect you want before taking a picture using the slider over here. Next we also have super macro mode, and using this feature we can take pictures of close-up objects at a pretty close proximity, which is normally not possible with the primary camera. Now if you go to the left side, we have a dedicated portrait mode, and using this toggle once again, we can change the amount of background blur effect you want. Now right at the bottom we have all these modes, and using these modes we can change the background shapes to circles, heart symbols, stars, and so on. Next we have a dedicated night mode for the rear camera. On this phone we can use the night mode for the primary camera and even for the wide angle camera. So you can definitely take some great low light photos. I'll show you sample shots later. Now on the right side we have a lot of features related to video recording. First we have the regular video recording where we can record video with the primary camera, or else we can also record video with the wide angle camera. Next we have a new feature called cinema mode. You can enable it from here. We also have ultra stable mode which super stabilizes the footage, which you can access it from here. We have a new feature called picture in picture mode, which you can access it from that toggle. And using this feature you can use both the front and rear cameras both at the same time. There are two layouts. This is one layout where you can have the front camera in this way, and this is another layout where the cameras are equally shared. Now finally this is the more section, and these are all the extra features that we have. We have live photo. Every time you take a picture, your phone also records few seconds as video. Now these are all the extra features that are available for this phone, and the most important one is high resolution. So this phone has a 64MP camera, but by default it takes a compressed image. If you want to take a 64MP picture, you need to use this mode. Now let's switch to the front facing camera, and here's the interface. Initial impressions, it looks pretty good. Now here's the primary camera, and on the left side we have the portrait mode. Once again we can change the amount of background blur effect you want using the slider over here. Next we also have a dedicated night mode for the front camera, so you can take some great selfies even in low lighting conditions. On the right side we have video recording, and for the front camera we have something called steady phase, which once again crops the sensor and gives us a super stabilization. It's just like ultra stable mode but for the front camera. Finally, these are the modes that are available for the front camera. Surprisingly, we also have slow motion for the front camera, and here's a quick sample. Let's check out the video. Yeah, it works pretty well. So that's slow motion using front camera. So overall, these are all the camera related features that are available on this phone. Now these are some sample shots. Now let's check out the speaker loudness. By the way, this phone has just a single speaker at the bottom. with money. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect. So that was the speaker test. It's definitely loud enough for ringtones alarms, and it's pretty decent even for media consumption. Now let's check the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up, and here we go. It's pretty fast. Yeah. So that was a quick test of the fingerprint scanner. It's pretty fast and pretty reliable. Now let's test the face unlock feature. I've already set it up, and here we go. In good lighting conditions, it is super fast. Now let's test it in low lighting conditions. It's trying to increase the screen brightness to compensate for low lighting conditions. And even in low lighting conditions, it is super fast. Now let's test it in complete darkness. Here we go. Once again, it is super fast. There's definitely a lag of like a second to unlock the phone, but that's completely fine considering it's completely dark. So that was the face unlock feature. Honestly, I think face unlock works much faster than the fingerprint scanner, and I'll probably end up using face unlock more than the fingerprint scanner. Now this phone has an AMOLED display, and that gives us some extra options or extra edge. This phone also has dark mode just like all of the phones, and you can enable it from display settings. And once you enable the dark mode or the dark theme, it completely changes the look and feel of the phone. Mainly because of the AMOLED display this phone has, dark mode specifically looks much more cooler on this phone, and it also helps you save some battery. And once you enable the dark mode, system apps and some of the Google applications like Play Store and YouTube also switch to the dark mode. Once again, helps you save some battery. Once again, because of the AMOLED display, we also have always on display feature, and you can enable it from the lock screen settings. And once you enable it, this is how it looks. As of now, it looks pretty simple, but from the same settings, you can have different clock faces. Now these are all the different clock screen styles that we have. Very few, but definitely appreciated. Now here's the new clock face, and definitely looks better than before. Now before I conclude, these are the benchmark scores. So guys, this is the new Vivo V20. At a price of about 25,000 rupees, you're getting an ultra sleek phone with a very premium design, great cameras and a huge selfie camera, fast charging support, AMOLED display, and all the goodies. I think this is a phone for people who are looking for a great looking phone with sleek form factor, great display, and most importantly, a great selfie camera. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter, and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I am Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.